Welcome back to Varney Lake, lords and ladies, as we get towards what seems to be probably the end, judging by how long the last one went on for. So, let us see how this tale ends. Why, Christine, says Jimmy. Why didn't we do anything? We were young. We couldn't possibly imagine what was going to happen. Yeah. We couldn't possibly know. It's true, says Jimmy. But we just watched, Christine. Doug, Christine. That vengeful son of a bitch Brandon killed him. Killed him. If we'd intervened that night at the beach, if we'd stopped them... No. It's not fair. There was nothing you could have done. Or at least nothing that could have changed your cousin's destiny. Lou clears his throat. And the noise brings you back to the present. There's no easy way to put it. So I'm just going to say it. Doug, your cousin, your friend, who everyone thought was dead in the months following that summer of 1954. He's alive. What? Says Jimmy. Yeah, says Lou. And I can prove it. But Brandon... Your head starts spinning. Just listen to me. It won't take long, says Lou. This newspaper is from the 9th of December 1954. Your cousin had disappeared on December the 1st. Every newspaper tells more or less the same story. Watching from a window, an eyewitness saw a big boy savagely beating a smaller one. He went inside to call the police, and when he came back, both boys were gone. A few days later, the witness recognized Doe's face on the missing posters put up by the family. It was the same boy the big guy had beaten ferociously. When the police showed him some pictures, he also recognized Brandon, the prime suspect in the investigation after everything that happened that summer at Varney Lake, and whom the police had been unable to question because he was missing. Everyone drew the same obvious conclusion. Brandon was behind Doug's disappearance. But the newspapers also mentioned the second witness in passing. Benjamin Van Stone, an addict who lived on the streets. The police took his testimony. However, his statements were dismissed on the assumption that there was just some kind of hallucination. Van Stone had stated that a winged figure appeared above the big boy. And that with one swipe it had cut off his head. The smaller boy was dying. The figure held him in their arms and stuck his fangs into his neck. At that point, Van Stone got scared, hid in an alley, and didn't come out for a few hours. A few days later, he showed up to testify. He couldn't stand the nightmares anymore. Nobody believed him. You understand what this means, right? Let's turn Doug into a vampire. Louis nods. No. It can't be. Jimmy speaks softly with a broken voice. You look at him with an overwhelming desire to hug him. And you? What do you feel? Your cousin Doug, he's alive. And what about Brandon? What had Lurtz done with Brandon's body? Didn't his family deserve to know what happened to him? Does it matter? If the story Lou just told you was true, Brandon had tried to kill your cousin. Brandon, never mind that he was your first kiss. Brandon was a son of a bitch. You take a deep breath. How many years has it been? Says Jimmy. No. Doug would have told us. Look, says Lou. I took this picture a few weeks ago. It's for the book I'm writing. A biography about Doug. The vampire kid. Jimmy. Chapter 11, Autumn of 1981. I can't believe it, says Christine. The seconds pass. Raindrops clatter relentlessly onto the sidewalk. With the perseverance of ruminative thought, why didn't Doug ever contact you in all those years? Where is he now, right? Says Christine. Louis had told you he didn't know the current whereabouts of your friend, the vampire kid, and that he let you know as soon as he heard more information. Now we have to wait. Listen, says Christine. Are you okay? Can I give you a ride somewhere? What? Christine repeats the question. No. Come here. I'll take you home. No, thanks, says Jimmy. I need to walk. Jimmy, says Christine. You make an effort to look her in the eyes. Christine doesn't say anything else. You give her a kiss on the cheek, and you walk away into the rain. Doug is alive. Why didn't he ever call his mother? Does he know how his family suffered? How you suffered? You still remember the day Christine called you to tell you about it. Christine was sure that they were going to find him. But Doug was fine. But you suspected the worst. Senior year of high school was one of the hardest. All you could think about was Doug's plans. It seemed so unfair that someone had taken away his future. Far from dismissing the pain grew as the years went by. Alcohol helped you sometimes. It made you forget. You never stopped visiting your friend's mother. Even though she didn't lose hope, she suddenly flew into fits of hysteria that tore you apart. You think about what Lou told you, about the witness who had seen the posters papering the whole town. As soon as you heard about his disappearance, you travelled to join the search. Doug lived in the same town as Brandon. How could you not see that something like this would happen? That Brandon would seek revenge. So much pain. The alcohol, the street fights, the army, Vietnam, the shootings, the smell of the jungle, the return to the country, the desire to leave everything, the nights sleeping on the streets, the fights in the shelter. And now a guy like Lou comes along and tells you that Doug is alive. Who the fuck does he think he is? You try to calm down. You know someone is following you. It's the same person who's been watching you in the bar, hiding behind a newspaper. It's not the first time you've been followed since you came back from Vietnam. And you know exactly what you have to do to lose them. After a while, you get out of the van and wander aimlessly, or at least that's what you think you're doing. The rain follows you every move. You hurry your pace, driven by a force you can't define, a certain attraction. The deer, you suddenly think. What the fuck, you say. This was something you and Doug used to talk about. In one of his magazines, Doug had read about a doctor who claimed that there were people who had a hard time seeing what they were thinking. People who were thinking about an apple, and who couldn't see it in their head. You didn't see the apple. But you could swear that for a second you could see the deer exactly as it had been back in 54. How? The drive-in theatre. Like the deer in the mill, something or someone brought you here. You're soaking wet and your legs hurt. How far have you walked already? You cross the ground facing the huge screen among the poles of the drive-in audio system. Some are crooked, some broken in two, but others still have speakers plugged in, and even think you can hear static. There he is. Doug. Your friend who had been dead, and now is alive. Doug, you say. Doug takes a few seconds to answer. Who the fuck are you? You croak at the top of your lungs. Jimmy? Jimmy! All these years. Why, Doug? Why the fuck didn't you tell us anything? Your heartbeat quickens with every step he takes. He doesn't look like the same Doug. Jimmy. Why? You really think I didn't try? Your mum, your friends, me. Have you ever an idea how much we suffered because of you? You'd like to tell him about the first year of desperate searching, about the false hope whenever the phone rang, of the grades at school, at the jobs you got kicked out of Vietnam, of the alcohol, the streets, the hunger, but you don't even know where to start. A shriek freezes your blood, and you stop feeling the floor beneath your feet. Let go of me. No. One of the broken speakers pierces your stomach. Jimmy, it's my fault. They won't let me. Doug, I wouldn't forgive myself for being late again. Come here, says Doug. Let me help you. The reflection of the drive-in stream makes Doug's fangs glow. It'll just take a second. Then you'll feel better. With the last of your strength, you grab Doug by the arm, and you shake your head. Jimmy, please. Make him promise you. But listen to me. No, says Jimmy. I'm tired. Doug looks away, but he doesn't retract his fangs. You try to smile, try to imitate a toad. Little by little you feel yourself disappearing. You close your eyes, and you wait for everything else to fade away. We could press continue. Okay, so it's just a... Right. I'm going to say that that was not as good as Mothman. I found the ending to be a bit weak, to be honest. It would have been nice if our actions had more consequence. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know if it's a multiple ending in this game. Until the end. Watch Secret Scene 2. What's this? This is going back, him dropping the son off to the father. Okay. So that was the secret scene. We didn't get the other two. Got some of the pictures. Catch a shoe. Make super 10. Catch free fish. Lose dice hopscotch, see Matt Moss in the sky. Okay. What secret scene? So there are multiple endings. Okay. I will say, I don't know. It didn't have the same weight as the first game did. I still think it was very good, but I liked Mothman more. There didn't seem to be a lot of information about the vampire, and the continuity didn't really feel all there. It switched too much backwards and forwards between the past and the present for me. But yes, with it being only 16 minutes, I won't fold it into the last video, because it's going to be too long, I think, if I do that. So we'll just have it as a very short conclusion. Overall, I liked it. I think Varney Lake was very good. Not as good as Mothman, like I said. If I was going to have any critiques about it, I think it could have had a much more structured narrative. It felt a bit too disconnected. As I said previously, with the jumping backwards and forwards, you lost the continuity of the plot, because it's like, oh, okay, we're skipping to random points in the past and skipping back to a fixed point in the future. But that's just how it is, I think. This has been Varney Lake, and I've been Cornish-Knight, and I shall see you again next time. Goodbye.